killing me, Petey! You're killing me!
Don J here, guys. Welcome. This is probably going to be one of the most important videos you have ever watched on tuning drums. I'm taking you through 5 mistakes that you make when it comes to tuning your drums. A lot of times we just get on and we say, man, it looks beautiful. We play it. It's cool. That's what we want to do. And then we don't worry about simple things like the chord structure of our drums, how to tune them, top and bottom tension, things like that. I'm going to blow your mind. Okay, listen. Let's get into the video. Let's find out how to tune these drums. So I told you I was taking you from scratch, right? So I'm a huge Remo guy. I don't play Evans, but this is the only batter head that I have, a simple 1-ply resonant. You can tell I don't play Evans because if you look at it, this is the very old Evans signal or Evans symbol. I love Evans, but.
What life?
All right, so listen, I'm gonna start you guys from scratch, okay? And it took me a while to make this video because I absolutely hate doing stuff like this, but I realized if I'm serving you, then that's all that matters. And that's what gave me the motivation to do it, all right? So we're gonna start from absolute scratch. And my audio's over here, so if you hear me talking over here and you don't get it, just turn it up, okay? First, we're gonna start with unscrewing and taking off this head. Now, one thing you have to watch out for, mistake number 1, that almost all musicians, all drummers that I know make, is when you're undoing this, and I just did it just now to show you, when you're detuning this to take them off, do not take this and just swivel it away. Swivel, 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 and then do the next one. What's gonna happen is you have deformity inside of your tension rods. These are your tension rods right here. So these are the things that keep your drum together. If you unscrew this all the way, this causes this to have less pressure. The other side, the very opposite side, has the absolute pressure. And so what happens is you eventually start to slowly lose the grooves. And drummers that know who have done this, when you lose the grooves, eventually the next time you tune it, it's harder to twist it. And if you don't use WD-40 or something like that to loosen it back up, you keep twisting it and pow, tension rod pops. Never do that. Instead, do this. You take it, and it's so remedial, right? You're like, oh, I don't feel like doing it. Take it, one good time. Take it, one good time. Take it, one good time. And if you got a set like I have, like this is DW, guys, this kit easily, you know, customized and all the other stuff, easily like 12 grand. But you take it, you don't want to have an expensive or even an inexpensive drum set that you mess up. So one at a time, till they get finger loose, because like I said, if you undo this all the way, this side is going to receive that tension. So you can even see me visibly. If I push down on this side is going to come up and you're going to burn out your tension rods, okay? So they're all loose. I have this fancy mono drum key, so I don't have to go like this the entire time. So now I can just keep twisting, keep twisting, keep twisting. So for this one's still a little tighter. Just get it enough to where you can get the head off. I like to lift it up, extract it. Except I got the legs on, so it's probably a very bad example. Take a leg out, extract the head, put the resonant in. If it doesn't sound like water, it's probably not the right head. Now, the head and the tape, I don't do. And so I guess for the sake of the video, so I do tape it occasionally, right? If I really want it to be dead. But I'm gonna show you a trick that I've actually learned too to help you out. But in this occasion, I'm going to keep this tape. Normally, do not tape this, guys, okay? I was known at my last church for replacing a drum head in like literally a minute and literally ready for sound check or ready for service. and to be so bad, they'd have the announcements on, and I'm still changing my stuff, and I would have it set ready for the welcome song. So we're there. Finger tighten these. Technically, I didn't finger tighten them. I've been doing this for a long time. Like I told you, I understand tension. Now, the second mistake that drummers make, you don't use tension. This is a very big mistake that people make. They go 1, they go 2, 3, 4. The problem with that is you're not understanding the tension. It's almost like when you have a woman, guys, and I'm going to keep this PG. You know, you don't just read a book and you go to her and you say, I want to make sweet love with you, and then you just go by everything in the book. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi.
Absolutely shameful!
You gotta listen to her, right? And so if you're listening to her, you're understanding what is in the moment. Every drum is different, every head is different, every time is different. Pause on the head. You have to listen to the tension. So this needed 2 turns, right? That needed literally a half a turn. That one. And it's all based on the tension that you have, that you feel in the drum, right? I can see this side wrinkling. I'm probably gonna have to give that some more love. That's okay. That's okay. Now you have to know mentally what the tension is in your head, because then you have to know what level to bring it to. I'm bringing this to level 1 right now, and the floor tom is probably level 2 at max. I'm bringing it to level 1 in my head, right? I'm not gonna twist this one more, and I know this is still lacking. You see this wrinkle? It's still lacking. I need some love, look at that. So now that I know, I felt them all, I got them to a solid like level 1. Now I just want to hear where everything is, right? Ironically, I'm quite satisfied with that. But you want to make sure, and this is point number 3 that people don't understand when tuning. If you want to tune properly, right? Just my personal recommendation for perfect tuning, the bottom has to be slightly higher than the top, okay? And I'll show you these points again when I get together. Very big thing you should always do with your toms. That was a little too tight. That's something you should always prioritize, guys. If you do this right, then when you go to flip this over and you change the top head, then it will sound amazing. But there's a slight chance, a huge chance in fact, that you won't do it right, which you'll hear that bow, and not a solid do. It'll be bow, bow. And that's okay. Okay. Now, the top head was already tuned. So let's hear what it sounds like with the new head on the bottom. Hear that? Now with the microphone for you. Still going. Mistake number 3. When it comes down to something like a live recording, you want your stuff to look aesthetically pleasing. When I tell you that I see so many drummers, they play and like the badge is upside down, it's on this side, if you can come here and look at these toms, I have my badges facing my body or my eyesight relatively. So they're not all straight, right? Badge straight, badge straight, badge straight. It's relative to my body. Badge this way, badge straight, badge slightly this way. Same with my floor toms, badge straight this way. This one's a little crooked for me, and for me, I still like my floors to come this way, so right there. And that's something, in my opinion, that is a huge mistake because it's supposed to look aesthetically pleasing. You want to look like the most absolute professional drummer, and everything is going to count for it. Trust me when I tell you. People need to see, look at your setup and say, oh, this guy's serious before you even get on. I can look at a drummer's kit and be like, yep. And 9 times out of 10, the playing matches the kit. This is probably a great time to point out something that you should do with your drums in general. With your microphones, point them away from each other. And so you see I have this one pointed this way, this one pointed this way. I don't want to point them in the same direction, just in case I'm really yamming out and the gate catches it. I don't want that gate to catch that drum. It is none of its business, okay? All right, now let's tune this baby up, okay? So guess what? All the handicaps that we have, we're not gonna use it. And we're not gonna use these. Not today, not yet at least. This is about learning how to tune and being fluent in what you're doing. If you need to reach for the moon gel, chances are you're not doing it right. Here we go. I see people tuning and their tuning comes out terrible because they're so militant to the drum and not responsive to the drum. You hear that rumble? It's too low. Somebody's lacking. Now, one thing I absolutely love about DW, the reflector, or not the reflector, the reinforcement hoops does cut down some of the response time. However, when you play something like Pinstripes, you get the absolute best of the best. I wish you could hear what this sounds like in person, but it's about 6 seconds of resonance, right? Here's what you can do as a trick. To kill that resonance, is you can take one of your tom legs, right? Simple. Put it upside down. And what ends up happening is the weight rests on the tom leg. And take a look at the difference. All right? The more legs you do, the more resonance it kills. I like all the resonance, I'm not gonna lie, because I'm very good at gating. So I'm gonna flip this back, set up. Now we're up to the fun part. I'm gonna keep this the same key and tune these relative to this key, okay? Is tuning in a way where you don't make a chord. When you tune, like a lot of people's drums, I swear to goodness, no offense to them, they sound literally just like this. The key to tuning toms is making a chord, guys. The key to tuning good toms is making a chord. I'm not sure what key this is, and I do not have perfect pitch like my brother Will Johnson, but I like to tune my first tom and my second tom at the same key or very similar keys, and I'll show you exactly what that's like. Sometimes you have drum mics that choke the tom, and in this sense, that's what it's doing. If you're listening, I have a thing that's stuck in there that I'm probably gonna have to get at some point. I want to show you something. In worship scenarios, a lot of guys like to tune with their drums a little dead. And what it looks like, honestly, is you're not necessarily like undoing a bunch of drums. What you're just doing, you're gonna tune these four slightly higher than you would tune the bottom four, slightly. And then after that, you take this one key, so you go from this, and you come down all the way with one, that brings you here. Second one, come down. Now, obviously in worship scenarios and worship settings, you have to dampen that, right? Sometimes you could double dampen. What I like to do is dampen on the actual wrinkles. Dampen on the wrinkles. So it sounds like that, but in a worship arena, or when you're like on stage, on a big stage, or even a lot of times it could be small, that then turns into this. So then it, like my left foot magic, but essentially that's what it turns into. So, nice little trick for you, worship scenarios, or if you like that dead sound anyway in rock scenarios. On coated heads, it works a lot better. Don't need any dampening. Both top and bottom. All right, now let's listen to these babies, man. I have had so many compliments on this Ballad snare, both in live. One big thing I do to tune my snare, a lot of times you guys will just tune everything to the same degree, just lower, you just get a flatter response. You tune them all to a certain tension level, then after that what you want to do is tune these top four a little higher, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, tune them a little higher, right? One more tension level. And then these two right here, you take these, you see I can jiggle them? You tune them to nothing, literally. to the point of no return, where you can jiggle them, you can finger tighten them. That's where you want to tune them, okay? And you get that awesome, amazing ballad sound. Remember, you don't want it to sound like a worship ballad. You want this to sound like a deep pop ballad, okay? So once again, 1, 2, 3. The biggest mistakes you make when tuning your drums, one huge mistake that you make is when you don't obey the bottom tension as well as the top tension. You want this bottom head to be slightly higher than the top head. And secondly, you want to make sure that the bottom head is thinner than the top. Get a 1-ply on the bottom, 2-ply on the top, my recommendation. When I do play jazz gigs or things of that nature, I do put 2-ply, 2-ply, sometimes the same exact drum head, but that's very, very rare. You want to make sure that bottom head is a 1-ply, single ply, and then the top head is a 2-ply. If you play with Ambassador 1-ply, that's fine too, but that top head is 2-ply, so you have that tension. Second thing is, you want to make sure that these notes are actually singing to each other. You don't want to hit that that's how you know you did it wrong, and you're gonna hear that on the record. Sometimes your engineer can auto-tune, which I have done in the past. I've auto-tuned those records so that when you hit that tom, it's like boom, G, or whatever the tom is. And so you wanna make sure that you are doing the engineer as much less work as you can, because I'm telling you right now, you will get fired for not knowing how to tune drums. It has happened before, and people have hired me over drummers who sounded way better than me off the simple fact that I made their job so much easier. So don't forget that tip. Make sure you go ahead, like, comment, subscribe, and tune your drums the correct way. Go practice. Tick tock, mother.